All right. Welcome, everyone. 2 o'clock. This is my last class of the day. I've been teaching since 8 o'clock this morning. I'm so excited. It's Monday, and um, yeah, this is my fourth class in a row, and I absolutely am so energized. It's not just the coffee, I promise. I love, love, love my job, what I do. I am so fortunate to have the opportunity to work with each and every one of y'all. How many of you, this is your first class at St. Philip's College? Okay, excellent. Your first semester, I would say, because some of you probably already had class this morning. So your first semester. Anybody, this is your first time ever at St. Philip's College, like you've never been here ever before. Awesome. I love it. Okay, cool. Um, so this introduction to hospitality class is one of the classes that I really love to teach because it encompasses all facets of the hospitality industry. Okay. Um, what do you think of when you think of here, you hear the word hospitality industry? What kind of job do you think there is in the hospitality industry? Hotel management. Okay, good. Say restaurant managers. Okay, good. Catering. I like it. Okay, yeah, the hostess or host at the restaurant. Absolutely. Good. Anybody else? So I heard hotel, I hear restaurants. Yes, absolutely. So the airline industry, amusement parks. Good, you guys are great. So there's all these different types of jobs out in the hospitality industry, and they all kind of encompass hospitality. And so we'll talk about them as we go through our class today and this semester. Um, I do, if you'll notice, there are two pictures of me up on the screen right now. I live record all of my lectures. And then I will post it on Canvas afterwards. There'll be the first module will be my office hours. I'll get those posted today. Right below that will be the live recorded lectures. So if you ever have to miss class, you can always go back and listen to the class that we did that day. Okay. Or maybe there's a concept that you want a little bit more information or you want to review again, you can do that by watching the video again. Okay. And that's why I wear my headphone. We have microphones, but I don't like to stand in front of the computer. And so this allows me to have really good quality audio for that recording. That's why you see two of me. One's the computer and one of them is my cell phone. My contact information is up there. The best way to get a hold of me is an email. This is on the homepage of Canvas, so you can always access it that way as well. But the best way to get a hold of me is through email because I only check my voicemail about once a week on my phone. So I need to get better at doing that. All right. By a show of hands, how many of you can relate to this? Anybody? I'm going to put two hands up because earlier today, you put your foot up too. Yeah, I'm going to jump up in the air. Earlier today, I got 10 minutes into my introduction to hospitality class before somebody realized that I was teaching professionalism and not intro to hospitality. And they're like, that's not the class that we're in. So I was definitely feeling that a little earlier today. Um, but why anybody want to volunteer why they're feeling a little bit stressed? Kids, okay. Work, amen. Yeah, just being the first day, absolutely. Okay. The first day, how many of y'all like last night or last week picked out your first day of school outfit? Anybody do that? What? Okay, good, good, excellent. Way to be honest. I love it. Oh, yeah, sometimes you're just like, okay, I'm like so excited. You're like Elle Woods in front of the mirror and be like, I totally dressed the part. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. We had a great presentation last week, actually. I thought this was really interesting. On Wednesday last week, we had a presentation here at St. Philip's College for faculty and staff, and it was, give me one second. I'm just noticing the blinds are up. That might cause some glare as we move into the day. Let me get these blinds down. We had a great presentation by the Ritz-Carlton Leadership Academy. The Ritz-Carlton is the only hotel company to have received a national recognition for management, like leadership. And so, does that help with the screens? Okay, cool. And so they once they got that recognition, a lot of people started reaching out to them and asking them, "Hey, what are you doing to get this recognition? Hey, welcome, come on in." And so they started a leadership academy, and it was interesting because they were teaching basically everyone from the college, all the faculty, all the staff, about the different leadership qualities and different principles of Ritz-Carlton. And there's some people that were just like, this is weird. Like, why is Ritz-Carlton teaching us college professors about leadership? And of course, I sat there and I'm like, this makes total sense. This is hospitality. And so one of the things that I got out of that session was that after 11 years of teaching, don't actually share the mission with St. Philip's College with my students. What is the purpose of a mission statement? When you think about a mission statement for a company, what is the purpose of that mission statement? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. It kind of helps you set that goal and kind of gives you that target to aim for, right? And so I wanted to highlight that last statement. We empower, this is this mission statement for St. Philip's College. We want to empower our diverse student population through educational achievement and career readiness. And that makes me stop and think, as a college professor, it is my responsibility, my fortunate responsibility that I have to teach every single one of you and to help prepare you for your careers in hospitality. And what a better industry you have chosen. There's no better industry you could have chosen. Hospitality is the best. It's such a fun industry. And to achieve this mission, there's 6 different points. Mine that I focus on is community engaged. Although I do a lot, if you've asked anybody that has ever had me as a professor, I put my students first. Absolutely. I have respect for all. Okay. But community engagement is the one that I specifically focus on. I belong to 3 different board of directors: the Alamo Area Hospitality Association, San Antonio Hotel Lodging Association, and San Antonio Visitor Alliance. And so I have an opportunity to network and integrate with a lot of industry professionals in the hospitality industry in San Antonio and stay connected with them so that when y'all are looking for jobs, I know where to send you. And so I do try to stay pretty community engaged. Just a brief history of my background and my education. Dr. Lawson is our president here at St. Philip's. She encourages us to tell our stories. This is my story as far as my education. So I started out at St. Philip's College in 2000 as a senior. I graduated from high school, Judson High School. In 2000, started out as a culinary arts major. I chopped the tip of my thumb off when I was dicing an onion. I zested my middle finger, right? So when your teachers tell you to hold your lemon like this and not like this, they're telling you there's a reason why they're telling you to do that. So me and sharp objects didn't quite get along. The rule was when chef left the room, David put everything down, because otherwise when he comes back, I would be bleeding. And so I took a 1-year break. That 1 year turned into 3 and then turned into 7. And I finally came back in 2007. I switched my degree to hotel management because I love the front of the house. I love interacting with people. And so I finished that program in 2009. Then in 2010, I finished the hospitality event management degree, which we no longer offer. That's just the hospitality general degree. Um, then when I was finishing up at my job, Rio Cibolo Ranch, I went to A&M San Antonio, and I earned a Bachelor's of Applied Arts and Science. That's a BAS degree, okay? And what they do with the BAS degree, and it's just a general business focus, what they do with the BAS degree is they take all of your culinary and hospitality credits and count them towards your bachelor's degree. So at the time when I transferred in, completely core credit, like core complete, which means I had all my sciences and all the extra stuff you have to take. I had 36 hours. I took 3 semesters and I had my bachelor's degree. Um, and so it's just a focus in business. It was at that point, I was doing sales and marketing. I was a wedding planner at the time. And so I wanted to do sales and marketing because that's what I did as a job. I wanted to get my degree in that. I took one human resources class and fell in love with teaching. I realized human resources is teaching, it's development. And I fell in love with that. My professor of hotel management retired in 2014, December, and I graduated in May of 2014. Had this epiphany, and I've been teaching now ever since. January 2015 was my first semester teaching here at St. Philip's. In that time, I've earned my master's degree in hospitality management from the University of North Texas, and I am currently in the final stages, the dissertation phases of my doctoral program at Grand Canyon University. I am studying about the effects of the impact of mentorship as part of leadership development. So if you have me for, or if you're taking management and leadership, HMG 2305, I might interject some of that in my coursework this semester as I learn more about that. But my goal is to graduate in June of 2026, if everything stays on track. And then I'm going to shave my beard. I've been growing my beard for 2.5 years. And this is the visual representation of the passage of time, is how I look at it. And as soon as they call me and say I'm done, I'm going to shave it. So if you come back and visit and I have a shaved beard, you have to call me Dr. Uminsky. So we'll get there one day. I think it's really interesting. When I got my first associate's degree, I thought I'm done with school. And it's interesting how life, we make different choices at different stages of our life. In the hospitality industry, I have pretty much most of my jobs can be somewhat related to hospitality in some way, beyond even what's listed up here. I remember when I was moving back home to San Antonio in 2007, I wanted to get a job with the YMCA because I worked for a YMCA camp in East Texas. And my friend's mom, she was really high up in the industry and in the YMCA organization, like national level. And she said, David, give me your resume and I'll send it to whoever needs it in San Antonio. We'll get you a job. And I was like, yes. And then she said, David, and I know you, but if I didn't know you and I saw your resume, I would think, what does this young man want to do with his life? Because this resume is all over the place. You need to focus it on what you want to do. I worked at Chester's Hamburgers all through high school, so food service. Then after I did every position at Chester's, I went to TGI Fridays and learned how to be a server. I first went to IHOP and Denny's, and neither one of them would hire me. Why do you think they wouldn't hire me? Yeah. No, it's not that I was overqualified. It's that I didn't have any experience. I had no experience being a server. I'm like, well, then how do I get experience if nobody's going to hire me? And so even though I felt a little rejected, I went to TGI Fridays. They were opening the store at the Forum Shopping Center. It's now a Verizon Wireless. But I went to TGI Fridays and they took a chance. They hired me. And then as the trainers left the store, they turned the store over to me and my friend Christy as the lead trainers for that location. So of course I wanted to go back to Denny's and IHOP and be like, suckers, you missed out. Of course I did not because I'm professional. I took that skills and then I worked at the Cheesecake Factory. I was on the opening team of the Cheesecake Factory at North Star Mall 23 years ago. And I was like, I'm done. My career is done. I'm over. It's over. I'm at the top of my pyramid. Like, there's nowhere else to go up. I'm working at the Cheesecake Factory. This is amazing. Um, and I learned a lot of great things from Cheesecake Factory. Um, at the same time, after I left Cheesecake Factory, I went to work for the Boy Scouts of America at Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico. I worked at a training center. So I didn't realize it until I actually came back to school that training centers is all about hospitality. People lived at our camp for a week. We had dining facilities. We had tents, so everyone had to check in and check out of their tents. We had programming that went on. All of that deals with hospitality. And then what you see up here on the screen is more about my more current um, industry specific. So Acadia Institute of Oceanography, that's the picture you see up there. I was the head cook for them in 2008, 9, and then 15, 16, 17, and 18. I prepared breakfast and lunch, or sorry, breakfast and dinner for about 60 people a day. I got to write my own menus, got to order all my own food, and then prepare all my food. What's that? When did I switch from serving to cooking? I've always loved to cook. I just didn't want to do it for a living, like a full-time living, right? And so I love you as a server. I learned this at Cheesecake Factory. Anybody ever has anybody not been to Cheesecake Factory? Okay. It is a spiral bound notebook. Okay. There's 200 plus items on the menu, including like 45 different types of cheesecakes. Okay. I had to know every single one of them by name and by sight. My final exam to pass my training was a slideshow of just a picture. And I had a packet of paper lined 1 through 200. And I had to write the full name of the menu item. I had to know everything by sight, right? Um, so having that passion for cooking helps me be a better server. So when you cross train, sometimes just because I'm not practicing culinary doesn't mean I can't use it somewhere else. And now it allows me, and then it helped me also too with the catering. So as an event planner, I was able to put menus together. I was able to recommend things. I was able to talk the chef's language. I wasn't promising a client filet mignon if they had a chicken budget. Okay. I didn't want to overcommit what my chef could do. So all those things really helped. For me, I feel also very fortunate to have the opportunity to work at a place like Acadia Institute of Oceanography. Summers only, 10 weeks. I got to get my cooking in. I got my fix for the year, and I got to live in Maine in Acadia National Park for 10 weeks out of the year. And so I got to utilize that. I was able to tap in into my knowledge. So if a student at the camp, and I say student because it was an oceanography. It was a summer, like an academic camp. If a student had a gluten allergy, then I knew I could thicken my sauce or my soup with cornstarch. But I actually had a student who had a corn allergy one time, so then I had to go back to a traditional roux. So to be able to know those things as a cook, I call myself a cook. I'm not a chef by any means. I can follow a recipe. Chefs to me create recipes. Cooks follow recipes. Now that being said, I do know my mother sauces, and I can develop sauces from that mother sauce, but I'm not gonna like create a whole new menu or recipe. Yes, go ahead. There might be. Yep, there was. Okay, there Marbach. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know. Like, if you've never been to Acadia National Park, it is stunning. It is absolutely beautiful. Do a Google search for Acadia National Park at some time. Not right now. Um, you know what? This is Intro to Hospitality, right? Maybe we'll talk about national parks. Good idea. Okay, cool. So I worked at the La Quinta Inn and Suites downtown, across from where the HEB is. I was a front desk agent, and I also worked in housekeeping. And that is where I learned that I want to open a bed and breakfast one day. Because if I own a bed and breakfast, I'll never have more than 6 to 8 rooms to clean in one day. Housekeeping is brutal. It is such hard work. And those ladies and gentlemen that do housekeeping, they take such pride in their work, which I think is so awesome. Um, there is something about walking into a room that's destroyed and 25 minutes later walking out with it looking pristine, ready for the next guest to check in. I was a pool technician. I cleaned pools when I was like 18, 19 years old in the summertime. Same thing. You walk into a destroyed pool, and an hour later it's sparkling and blue, and you get to walk away. There's such a rewarding feeling for that. At the same time that I was at La Quinta, I was working at the Sheraton Gunther Hotel, where I was working at Barron's Restaurant. So it was the restaurant inside the lobby of the Sheraton. I was known as the singing waiter. I would serenade my guests while they enjoyed dessert before they went to a show at the Majestic. Like I told my training people, find out what you do well and then capitalize on it. It was it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And then my I say real jobs, my career type jobs. I worked at Rio Cibolo Ranch. That was my internship as an event planning student. I was there for 4 years. I did corporate events and weddings, anywhere from 10 people up to like 2,000 people, events that I would do. And then the last thing is the Adventures in San Antonio. That's a destination management company, a DMC. We'll talk about what DMCs are and what they do when we get to that section in the textbook. So I put this up here because my career, my jobs are all over the place. But I take little pieces from each thing and allows me to be able to apply that at a future time. I pulled in a lot of stuff from my time at Cheesecake Factory and TGI Fridays when I was making meals for the Acadia Institute of Oceanography. I'd be like, oh, I liked that pasta. Let me think about what the flavor profile was and how can I recreate that. So enough of me talking. Okay. We're going to do your name, your degree, if you have a favorite restaurant or favorite type of food, and a fun fact about you. You know me, my name, my degree, my favorite type of food is Italian food, anything Italian. I love making Italian food. I love making pasta and different sauces. And a fun fact, one that I haven't shared, something new for other people who've had me in class before. A fun fact. I've been skydiving twice. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I can't go solo yet. I had to do tandem. But yeah, I had the potential to learn how to go solo, but skydiving is so much fun. You're falling like, I don't know how many feet per second, and it's so amazing. Okay. All right. Who would like to go next? All right. Sorry, that was a bad throw. You were not ready. I did not communicate. That was all on me. I apologize. A bit of time. All right. So our class meeting is Mondays and Wednesdays, okay, from 2 to 3:15. Um, we won't always fill the entire time, but most of the time we probably will. Um, our district policy is that you can miss up to 2 weeks worth of classes. Okay, so because we meet Monday and Wednesday, that means you can miss up to 4 classes before you could potentially be dropped. I don't encourage you to miss classes, but like I said, I do record the lectures so that you can always go back and get the information. You still are counted absent, but at least you won't miss out on the information. Decorum is just a fancy way of saying a professional way of acting or behaving or dressing. In my classroom, this is more of a management level or management style class. Okay. I know in the hospitality industry, the back of the house uses some pretty flourishing language, or some some not so professional. Yeah, vulgar might be another way of saying that. I was trying to think of a positive way of saying. Um, but in this class, in my classes, I really encourage you not to. And if I do hear you say it, I'll just say something like hate language. If I just hear it, because if you're just talking in passing and I hear it, I'll just say hate language. I'll make a mental note. If it becomes an issue, we'll have a conversation. But I don't think it will become an issue. I think most people, how you behave in your personal life, if you can mirror that to your professional life, less chances of you making a mistake and slipping up in a professional setting. Okay. To say I don't swear would be a lie. And I don't want to lie to y'all, but I also don't make it part of my everyday language. My assignments for my classes are typically due at 8 a.m. on the first day of our class week. Okay. How many of you had a class where your teacher has it done 11:59 p.m.? Okay. I can guarantee you I am not up at 11:59 p.m. waiting to grade your papers. Okay. So this is something I learned while I was in grad school, that when I was working at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on homework, if it's due 11:59, well, then it's late. But my professors weren't up at that point. And so ever since 2020, I kind of changed my due dates to 8 a.m. I think about Monday as our new work week or our new class week. So 8 a.m. That week is when our new week starts. So that's when everything is due at 8 a.m. on that day. Most everything. There's to be some things that'll be due outside of that, but most things are due at 8 a.m. on Mondays. Okay. Our class is meant to be a discussion, especially because this is Intro to Hospitality. We're going to be covering a variety of topics throughout the industry. If you have experience with something, I would love for you to share that experience, especially when we get to those topics. So please, 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 please help this be more of a class discussion than it is more of me lecturing, okay? So on a piece of paper, I want you to write 1 to 2 things that you need to do to successfully complete this course. Okay. 1 to 2 things that you think you need to do to successfully complete this course. Nope, this is just for you. You don't have to turn it in. You can write it on the back of your nameplate if you want to, like on the inside if you want. Yeah. Yes and no. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, no. Each teacher gets their own. We get to create our own little how our courses are set up. All right. So 1 to 2 things that you need to do to successfully complete this course. And then I'd like you to compare that with your neighbor, whether that's in front of you, behind you, next to you. Compare that with your neighbor to see if you have anything in common or maybe even something different. All right, about 30 more seconds to discuss. All right, who would like to share one of your items on your list? Go ahead, Amaya. Okay. So time management, what do you mean by time management? Cool. Cool. Excellent. Anybody else? Cool. Absolutely. When I was a student, I had 2 jobs. Yeah. Okay. Um, Arrive with a clear mindset. I actually I approach my job, and I've done this since day one. I've always approached my job at St. Philip's as just as I would approach the hospitality industry. My students are my guests, and the people on campus, I have to network with those different departments. So if a student has questions about records, I have an inside person I can call directly at the records office or advising or wherever. And so I've always approached that. And the hospitality industry is very much like that mindset of leave home at home. There's been a couple of hotels that I've worked at. The Valencia, I would do day of coordination for weddings. And they had on the back side of the door, as you walk out to the public space, right, the front of the house, from the back of the house, it had like the picture of a curtain and a stage. And it was like, all right, it's showtime, right? When as soon as you open that door, like the guest doesn't matter. The guest doesn't care if you have issues going on in the back of the house. The guest doesn't care that you have issues going on at home. You're there to take care of the guests at that time, and to give them that great experience and that memorable experience. So I like that. Sometimes we're gonna like go ahead and leave it out there as we walk through the door, and then when we walk out back out the door, we can come back and we can put it back on. But for this time, if we can kind of just do that, and I think also that was one thing about the pandemic that I thought was really challenging for my students, because I know for a lot of you, this is your time away from your kids, away from your families, right? This is your time to interact and mix and mingle with your peers. And my students didn't get that when during the pandemic. When we were teaching remotely, they were stuck. I don't want to say stuck at home. That sounds very odd. But they were, they didn't have that break, right? We were stuck, but we didn't have that break. And so I thought it was really challenging for the students during that time. So I like that. Arrive with a clear mindset. All right, let's do maybe one or two more. Yes. Hold on. Don't tell me. Mirror. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, absolutely. Practice those skills. I like that. Thank you. Yeah. It's like the Barbie at the end of Toy Story. Remember at the very end of the credits when Barbie at the end, she's like, "Oh my gosh, are they gone?" Okay. Oh my gosh, my cheeks hurt. I think it's the very first. I think it's the first one. Yeah. Oh yeah. So watch the very end of the credits, and Barbie is like, "Are they gone? Is everyone gone? Oh my God, my cheeks hurt." Oh, like that's exactly what I feel like every day. All right, I saw another hand over here. Good, I love that. Please ask questions, ask for help. And it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically about course materials. Um, Here at St. Philip's College, we have a variety of resources for our students to help you be successful. So every faculty member is going to have office hours. It's 2 hours a day that we set aside where we wait for students to come pick us up, or not pick us up. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Wait for students to come talk to us. I don't know. I had picked me up in my oh my gosh. This is one downside to recording lectures. Is my my flubs are immortalized. But no, so we're literally in our offices waiting for students to come talk to us. Okay. Now, I personally, not all faculty, but I also had a Zoom link as well. So if you're not on campus, you can log into my Zoom link and we can chat face to face as well if you want to do that. So I'll post that in Canvas, that Zoom link by day. For me on Mondays and Wednesdays, because I teach literally from 8 o'clock until 3:15, my office hours are from 3:30 to 5:30, right after this class is over. But during those office hours, it could be questions about your schedule next semester. I love working with students and outlining your whole 2 years, so you know what to take in what semester. Um, it could be questions if you need assistance with anything. We have counseling here on campus, in the case building across campus. We have counseling available if you need to talk to somebody. We have the Phil's Den, which is a clothing closet, but they also have kids' clothes. They have toys. They've got stuff like that over there. We have a food pantry. So if you need a snack for the day or you need a little food for a couple of days, our mission here at St. Philip's is to help you be successful. And so if we can relieve any stress from that side, it provides an opportunity for you to be more focused in classes. Okay. So if you ever need access or you need questions about that, feel free to come and ask me and I'll be happy to direct you to the area on campus. So what I'm going to do is after class is over, I'm going to upload this document. Okay. You'll see to help you be successful, my commitment is to always be available during my office hours and appointments as needed. So if my office hours don't work for you because you have other classes, email me in advance so I can look at our schedules and we can align our schedules so I can meet with you outside of my office hours. Okay. And then I will also post the live recorded lectures within 24 hours. So if you are absent, you can get the information that you missed. Or if you need it to do homework to review, you'll have that. Okay, so give me until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock today to post this in Canvas. And it'll just basically be an assignment where you type in your name as agreement. And that will be you agreeing to these things to help you be successful. Okay. If at the end of the semester, if you don't ask for help and you wait till the very end, I can't really help you a whole lot. You need to ask as we go along. Okay. As the time comes up. Okay. So that is, let me save that. All right, so I think some of y'all already answered this. How many of y'all work in the hospitality industry? Raise your hand if you work in the hospitality industry. Or worked is fine. Worked is fine with an ED past tense, that's fine. Okay. How many of you want to work in hospitality? Awesome. Cool. So hopefully we can find some of those career opportunities for you as we go through the curriculum in this class. Okay. We'll do this on Wednesday. I want to get everybody make sure that you are logged in and ready to access the course material. This may take the remaining 15 minutes of our class. So in Canvas, you should have, oops, where is it? I think I took it away. Let me get it back for you guys. Here we go. Let's move it up. There we go. Okay. So in Canvas, the Alamo Books Plus digital course materials, this is where you're going to access your textbook. So this is our textbook, Exploring the Hospitality Industry. Okay. When you click on this link to reveal the access code, now because I'm the teacher, it looks a little bit different, but it's going to have the code here as well as a URL, a link for you to access to where you put that code in. Okay. I would say 90% of our homework assignments are going to be in this textbook. Okay. So 90% of our homework assignments are going to be in this textbook. You'll read the chapter before we come to class, and there's different quizzes built into the reading as you go through. And then after the class is done and we talked about it in class, then you'll take a quiz on that chapter. Okay. So that's going to be like the primary format for our homework assignments in this class. I would like you to ensure that you have access to this platform by Wednesday. Okay. We're not going to really go over chapter 1 until we get back from Labor Day weekend. But I want to make sure by Wednesday that you all have accessed this. If you have done my culinary lab, like in a previous class, that's the same publisher. So you'll probably use the same login information. If you have not done that, then you need to create a new account. I recommend you use your student email address. Okay. Um, let's do one more thing before we finish on this book stuff. I want to show you all our schedule. This is Intro to Tourism. Course calendars. Section 2. All right. So as we go through our calendar here, I will post this in Canvas. Oops, I gotta change that date. Okay, I'll change that before I post it in Canvas. But it's basically the same because it's the same Monday, Wednesday class. So holiday, we have no class next week on Monday. So please don't come to school. Campus will be closed. Okay. Your assignment for this week is to do your chapter 1 reading. And then we'll talk about chapter 1 next week, and you'll do your quiz on chapter 1. Okay. So we'll do the readings for chapter 2 and 3 next week. That's kind of like the format that I like to go with as we move through the semester. Okay. You'll notice 922, 924, that's independent study. Class is not canceled. You have other alternative assignments to work on, basically reading the chapters. Okay. Those 2 days is when I'll be visiting the Holy Cross University in the Philippines. So I will be out of town on that week. We'll come back to like normal the following week. Okay. Then we have independent study in November. I will be at a conference in Amarillo. So I'll be out of town for that. But again, there'll be an online assignment for you to do. Independent study does not mean class is canceled. It just means you're not here. You're doing study independently, right? So we still you don't come to class on independent study days, but classes, we never say class is canceled, okay? If anybody ever asks, I don't cancel classes. I give you independent study. And then we'll have a semester project during Thanksgiving week. So we will not meet during Thanksgiving week. The campus is still open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Some of your other professors may have class on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I will not have class on Monday and Wednesday during Thanksgiving week. I will basically collect your projects, and that will be your class attendance for Thanksgiving week. All right. And then we'll do your final exam. Whew. No, I haven't posted it. I will post it in Canvas. Yep, I'll get it posted for you. I need to update our class date, our time for the 2 o'clock. Okay. This can change. So it's not set in stone. It can change. But this is pretty much what I would like to do. Okay. This is the first time I've taught this class since I think 2018, maybe 2018 or 19. And so what I would like to do is not do a lot of lecture. I would love to come into class and let's talk about the chapter. Let's talk about current events that are happening that relate to the chapter. Okay. So if you want to, we all learn in different ways, right? We learn audio, visually, and kinesthetic, doing. And so the way that I would like to address that is in the modules, the textbook is the reading part. That's the visual, okay? In the modules, wherever it says chapter 1, lesson, whatever, that is a video of me, my recording of my lecture, okay? So you can listen to that. It follows the textbook. So you can, if you learn better by listening, you might want to watch the videos first and then read the chapter. Maybe these concepts will sink in a little bit more, okay? Or vice versa. And then when we come to class, we'll actually do something, some kind of activity related to the topic from the chapter, okay? So that's my goal to do that. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
So textbooks
Uh-huh. Yep. So when you go here, it should where you click on the green bar, it says reveal access code. It should give you an access code. I can come take a look. So then there should be also a link for you to access. Yep, copy the URL, open that up, and then that'll give you a place to open the link. See, I sent it here so that it says I'm not in class. Okay. Let me, sorry, excuse me.
That's for student?
Yes. Yes, you're using an LMS. We're using Canvas. Yep. Yep. So that will basically show you how to connect to the Canvas, the textbook. All right.
Of course, sure.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording so that way we don't just hear randomness.